When it's down in line, make it ready to pull that trigger weight on tight turn. Now, up and away, count each every day. Right away, always on turn. Tight turn.
Hey, Mac. How's this gig going? Really fucking well.
You're entering a world of band. A land of skinny jeans and not enough fucking bass. You open up a guitar case. You find there's no picks in it. You hear meth heads yelling in the bathroom. This is the Band Zone.
Spicy in Saskatchewan writes, Dear Pale People, can you talk about some of the strangest gigs you've ever played? What a good question, Spicy. Yes, we can. Number 1.
When we'd been a band for almost a year, I got a Facebook message out of nowhere from a stranger that said, "Hey, we're almost set up. Where are you guys?" And I was like, what? Mac had decided to book a gig in Helena at a bar called which we'll bleep, and not told myself or our drummer at the time, and then he completely forgot about it.
Yeah. So the rest of the night was spent fending off increasingly hostile texts from the venue. The opening band was fine with it because they got all the money. We have not attempted to play there since.
That's also why now I book all our gigs.
So that was the weirdest gig we never played.
If you reach out to us and are interested in booking a gig, you'll likely get a response from me and only me.
Or me if I'm feeling spicy.
I hope not.
In Saskatchewan.
Yeah. Number 2. During our first tour, we had a day off between 2 of the shows. We were playing a show in Idaho Falls, and then 2 days later, we were supposed to play in Seattle.
So in between those, we decided to crash an open mic in Boise.
We played a sports bar that was in a strip mall.
And we were the only non-acoustic folk duo act present.
Oh, kids. This is gig creative. Yeah. This gig's going to be one of the weird ones. Mac, help me have an ego. Hold it and ask me things.
Hi, Kurt.
Oh, hi.
What are we doing?
Rolling backwards. Oh, we're playing a probably very terrible idea.
How do you feel about the strip mall gig?
I feel good. I think it'll pay out a lot. Probably as much as any gig in Missoula. We drove...
That's also true.
4 hours to get here. It's, 8:30 now?
Yes.
This goes until 2. I mean, we can keep the bar open until 2. We could also close it by 9. Thanks, Brian. When we got there, we weren't sure what the situation would be like. And, usually when you go to an open mic, you ask permission to hey, are drums okay? Some people aren't cool with it. But we have found that it opens up a world of fun when you bring a full drum set to what was otherwise just an acoustic gig.
Yeah.
So when we got there, someone was playing Stand By Me on a ukulele, and we were like, yeah, we'll fit in. So we proceeded to play our regular catalog and tried a couple of things we hadn't done before. One of which was we played Steven, one of our kind of hard-hitting, guitar-heavy songs.
Hello, Steven, good day, Steven, everything is fine.
On an acoustic guitar and used the djembe instead of the drums that we took the time to set up.
We're going to do something now we've never actually done before. Give me a minute.
Woo! Yeah!
The song is... You're going to get all Wayne's World on your ends. The song is called Steven, and it's about the Reverend Fred Phelps at the Westboro Baptist Church, who died a couple years ago. There you go.
Hello, Steven, good day, Steven, everything is fine.
So after the open mic, which went way, way, way longer than anyone thought it would, we tried to find somewhere to fucking sleep. We pulled up in a parking lot outside a tractor mechanic. A couple of feral cats ended up staring us down. Brian, our drummer at the time, decided to stop sleeping on the roof like goddamn Snoopy. We pulled into a Walmart parking lot at 3 in the morning and woke up at 6:30 in the morning.
ain't so, oh,
Squad flat.
Good morning, John. It's Thursday.
It ain't so. From a Gatorade.
It is 7 in the morning in beautiful Tampa, Idaho. Right?
I don't think anyone knows.
Afterthoughts about last night's gig.
Rest of it
Man.
was fine.
Who said that we were good, and he had very specific compliments. I don't want to call him a chode. He complimented me on my accents, which I thought was bullshit.
I wasn't really sure what he meant by that.
Well, he was like, you know, you can do whatever, but then you got the accents, man.
And then he was telling me, oh, and your accents hit when his accents hit. And I
It's
think
like, that's kind of the point of a fucking song.
And he told me to get a fedora.
yeah.
Actually, he was kind of a chode.
He talked to us for a long time.
He did.
I used to manage bands in Vegas, and now I'm a photographer. You should listen to me.
Yeah, we did a cover of Say It Ain't So.
Let's be fair, the bar collectively did a cover of it, and I might have been the only person that knew the chord changes.
Yeah, that's
You were.
Yeah.
You were. I tried to contribute by occasionally interjecting in this piercing falsetto.
Number 3.
On our second tour, we were with our friend Henry Mansfield, and we were doing a West Coast, middle of winter, really good idea tour. It was storming like crazy. We get to Eugene, Oregon. We were going to play this bar, Old Nick's, which we played a time before. When we got to the bar, we found a medieval combat society in full plate armor, sword fighting on the stage.
So we gave them lightsabers.
The local opener showed up, a guy by the name of Banjo Youngblood.
Like a steampunk Oh Brother Where Art Thou kind of act.
Yep. They were amazing.
We're doing it a different way. We're doing it a different way, but we're still doing it. I'm not singing it, but I'm still doing it.
I'd like to think somewhere right now they're still doing it.
So we have this very slow, very melancholy type song off our first album. It's called Toilet Song. It's about teen pregnancy.
Your parents touch your belly with tenderness. He's breathing water.
That night, when we tried to perform it, there was a tweaker in the men's bathroom about 20 feet off stage, screaming his fucking head off, which really kind of ruined the ambiance of the whole thing.
Thanks.
Number 4.
So a couple nights after the gig at Old Nick's, we were to play the in Portland. For whatever reason, we've never had any luck playing in Portland. On this particular night, we were playing a very oblong space with the stage kind of triangular and crowded off to one side, the bar facing away from the stage.
The stage was large enough to fit about half the drum set. Cymbal stands had to be on the floor in front of it, and then Mac and I had to set up the bass and piano in front of the stage, and I was almost blocking the front door. The first couple of acts, because they were under 21, weren't allowed to perform either at all or their full set length.
Henry's band, again being underage, had to wait outside in the snow, and we were getting pretty pissed.
Hi everybody. We just had a pretty fucking weird night. We were playing a gig, or about to, and 2/3 of the bands that were playing, the other kids, weren't 21 and they weren't allowed to be in the bar. It caused this whole kerfuffle. Sound guy never showed up. I ended up doing sound remotely while I was drunk.
He controlled my head. I turned the reverb way the hell down, so it wasn't like. Okay.
Yeah. Coyote Lovely played a few songs. They actually played more songs than we did, I think.
Yes, they did.
And then Chris got pissed off.
Chris was pissed off the whole time.
Chris, what are your thoughts about the recent occurrence tonight?
Is single-handedly the greatest gigging experience that I've had in my entire life. I think Matt Gilchrist would agree that indeed the greatest venue that we have ever ventured to participate in.
So, hey, so, God damn it,
We're banned.
We're pretty banned right now.
Yeah,
that's a new adjective. Dude, this is pretty banned.
Dude, how fucking banned are you right now?
Oh God.
Dude, I'm so banned.
I'm so fucking banned. I'm gonna kill
Dude,
you.
I could not possibly be more banned. Right
We
now.
were banned from that bar.
We might be actually.
No, they wanted us back. One guy fucking loved us and invited us to play in Canada and give us a place to stay. Bought our album and then talked with me for maybe 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Honestly, this night would have been total shit, and right now I'm actually having a really good time.
It's great. It's wonderful, and we get to hang out with everybody.
We only played 4 songs. We half-assed it, and we purposely tried to piss the bar off. We actually made more money than we did last night when we played a full set.
And got invited back.
We made everyone leave.
Yeah.
Except who stayed through the whole thing and was having a great time.
Oh God.
Awesomely well done.
Thank you. Thanks, man. Much obliged. Thank you.
Thank you. I feel pumped up.
Good.
What? We have a CD if you want.
Oh yeah.
He was my favorite.
That was the craziest fucking show. 2/3 of the Bearded Scooter Gang are like high and mad right now,
and they like ran off to do homework and masturbate or whatever.
So in summation, Weird Night would have been a totally shitty gig had we not made a super fan, which we apparently did.
It was like last night before you said you were gonna kill the girl.
Oh well,
but that doesn't really count.
Oh yeah, that chick.
Number 5. So 2 summers ago, we received a message out of nowhere inviting us to play a little hippie festival in rural Washington. And we were like, cool, how much does it pay? And they were like, well, it doesn't pay. And we were like, we're in.
When you get invited to play something that they claim is the second annual, what they mean to say is it's the second time we've ever done this.
Attendance, I think, was not quite what they had hoped it would be.
For a while, we couldn't tell if we'd gotten sucked back into the 70s.
Hi.
What do you do?
I play Sudoku.
Isn't that what how samurais kill themselves?
I listen to funk in the woods. You know how it is.
What's Austin doing right now?
Heroin.
Ben, tensions are high.
That's why he's resorted to heroin.
Yeah. Hi, everyone.
It's a really harrowing ordeal.
Nope,
Yep.
not allowing it. Nope.
Yep.
Done there.
Fuck you.
So it kills when it jacks. Here, you see one hand, I'm gonna just jack it right here where we had the other keyboard, Bob. And what's your guys' name?
Pale people.
Pale people?
Yep.
They had a lot of time inside, huh?
So it started raining at some point, and the rain became louder than the sound guy who was trying to do the sound.
I need to know what else you need into it. If you need more of it, just let me know and I'll put more of it into it. Thank you. Okay?
We don't remember too much about the sound guy at the show, but the sound guy's assistant left an impression.
So if they're all wound in a ball, that's when they do it. That's why it's important to have a clear runway.
He claimed that he was the guy who wrote the riff to Come As You Are by Nirvana.
He claimed that he was friends with Kurt Cobain and taught Come As You Are to him as a counting exercise. I don't even know. How would you count the beat for Come As You Are?
And 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 4 and... You know, a really useful counting exercise.
Good evening, friendly hippie people in the rain. We're bound from Missoula, Montana. We've come about 275 miles to play here tonight. Thank you for listening.
Thanks for having us, everybody.
What? People in the back, come forward. Keep us company.
We're lonely.
It's lonely up here, and these people are enthusiastic. So.
It started raining for a minute, so people...
All right.
Yeah, we'll get them.
You have a solo on the bass? I do. What's up? Give me a nod so I can kick it when you do.
You got it.
You thump that.
I'll let you know. Thank you so much, man.
We good? Thank you, we tried.
Thanks so much, man.
That's just kind of how it happens.
Do you need fake jazz?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Stop that. Stop that right now.
Someone lost a black walkie-talkie and turned it into a TV if they find it.
Hey, everybody, somebody lost a black walkie-talkie. Where we go? Head to the teepee if that is your black walkie-talkie that is now MIA.
Where walkie-talkies have been historically found for hundreds of years, teepees. In order to recoup some of the costs of traveling 300 miles for seemingly no reason, we decided to alter our merch table to include a section that for $100 you could fight our drummer.
There were also a lot of unattended children at the show, and 3 of them decided to take us up on the fight.
Well, say hi to the folks at home.
Hi.
Say hi, folks at home.
Hi. 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 I'm gonna beat up the drummer of this band. Yeah, we're gonna beat him up. No, I'm gonna do it by myself, and then afterwards I'll let them have fun. Yeah, after he wakes up.
Wow. The way you said "have fun" made me, like, tremble to my core. Seriously.
Number 6. I thought the last one I should shout at your dick. Oh, did I poke you in the
Yeah,
eye?
you're like a hedgehog.
The previous summer when we'd learned our lesson in Idaho about playing at open mics, we were like, yeah, let's fill out another day off on tour. So we're playing the Lamp Tavern in Portland because our gig in Spokane was canceled due to weather and none of the other bands wanted to drive that far, so we're staying in Portland the extra night. Hi. And our drummer has abandoned us to play with the open mic. What's going on right now?
Some chick just came up to the table and was like, "None of you are the drummers," and we said, "Well, 2 of us are the drummers." And she said, "Go play with Steve." Jimmy, go play with Jimmy. So Austin went up and he's playing with Jimmy. Yeah.
Yeah, Jimmy. We'll be doing a few, it looks like several 4-song sets, and Mac's gonna disappear like a snake. So, don't fall. Oh shit, now I'm paralyzed. While we were on tour, Austin decided to bring his acoustic guitar with him. Over the course of the tour, he'd been working up some of the material that he'd been working on for like a solo project. And when we found out that there were more slots available for the open mic, he decided, hey guys, why don't we just play some of my songs? You got a little open for your own band. Oh, thank you very much, man. Thank you. Oh, just hang on. Wait. You'll see. We're going on after.
after this. That's our fake band.
Okay, all right. So you haven't even heard the band?
Oh, it's
Austin, how you doing?
Dude, that was awesome. That was so much fun.
Yeah.
Slide with a bass?
Oh, that's all I do.
Yeah.
So we got on stage, and about 30 seconds into the first song, my piano starts going bug fuck for no discernible reason.
That's a technical term.
From sunny Missoula, Montana, we're pale people. The song is about being happy at a funeral. It's called Auf Wiedersehen. 1, 2, 3, 4. Stop. I don't know.
So what followed was me in front of everybody trying to fix the piano for about 10 minutes.
No,
before I got demoralized enough to just unplug it and leave the building.
Something to do it? Just happy? You drink
Austin and I couldn't find Mac for a while, and it turned out he'd been in the van crying, and I'd never seen Mac that upset. Still,
yeah.
As much as I've tried.
You know, it's funny because these gigs, I mean, especially the open mics, I mean, the stakes could not be lower. Still, performing in front of anybody, for me, feels like life and death. Like, it feels like the most important thing in the world.
There seems to be an added amount of weight to it, too, when you've traveled a couple thousand miles.
Yeah.
And, you know, you're stuck in the van for hours on end. You're trekking through and all huddled together in this one goal of getting to share this art that you've worked on and, like, perform it for people who'd otherwise, you know, never get a chance to see it.
And to then feel like your instrument is the one fucking it all up and bringing it all down. It felt like hell. That was the worst gig we've ever played.
Yeah.
Turns out, actually, that while we were putting all this footage together, we found a little clip that we had never seen.
It is a good song, though. You guys were awesome. I'm sorry about the piano. I hope you come back to the lamp.
It sounded really good.
It was amazing to see that footage 3 years after it had taken place and not knowing it was there at all. You know, he'd probably intended for us to see that within the next day or so as we were going through it or whatever and have it be relevant, but it really meant a lot, and we absolutely mean to come back to the lamp.
It's strange how raw this still feels, you know, this this really kind of fundamentally insignificant gig that hardly anybody saw, you know, that really didn't have a lot of implications for us going forward. You know, it still feels very raw to me.
It was really hard combing through the footage, and, you know, this has gone down in sort of our personal history as like our like culminating our worst moment, or it still haunts us at times. Whenever we're setting up for a gig, part of us in the back of our mind thinks, fuck, is the keyboard going to do the lamp thing?
There's kind of a postscript to the gig at the lamp, and it has to do with the actual physical lamp that we were carrying around at the time. It was our longest serving stage prop. This little like symbol that we stole blatantly from Stop Making Sense. And it was intended to give this kind of living room, intimate vibe to every show, but it became pretty cumbersome, especially when we were relying on it for our only source of light on stage.
It's difficult enough touring in a minivan with all your gear, let alone trying to get a floor lamp to survive thousands of miles of touring.
And we discovered after the gig at the Lamp that our lamp had finally broken, given up the ghost.
We is leaving the land of poets. Mackin, what's happening?
We'll talk about last night at a later point, once I stop crying. Right now what's happening is I'm going to retire this lampshade.
Why's that, Mac?
On behalf of the band, I'd like to thank this lampshade for its ambiance and general service to the morale of the project. I'd like, if I may, to say a silent Buddhist benediction.
Okay. How will I know when you're done? Oh, he fell!
Black one. Tell him to do the black one.
No. Oh, this is my favorite.
Are you okay? It is done. There's always a silver lining to these gigs, you know? I mean, even one as bad as this, you know, this ended up being the catalyst to, like, shed some unnecessary stage gear. You know, we have traveled lighter and freer ever since then. Because you don't need props.
You kind of are a prop.
And at most of these gigs, we made good connections, you know, and we sold some merch. We sold at least enough to, you know, pay for gas to go to the next town. I don't think there's any such thing as a completely horrible gig. There's always something to be learned. And there's always another gig. There's always something that you're building toward.
There's people that we're still in touch with. There's people we've since played other gigs with. You find somebody who's roughly doing the exact same thing you're doing, and you have this common goal, and you're like, oh, we're playing a show in Seattle. Maybe they can send a couple of their band members with their side project down and open for you guys.
And you keep going, you keep playing, you keep making friends. You know, you continue.
And presumably, there's always one other place that you can stay besides a Walmart parking lot.
Yeah. The basement of a friend. Well, I hope that answered your question, Spicy. If you'd like to see another episode of Behind the Pale, you can click right up here.
If you want to check some of our other behind-the-scenes stuff, you can look over this way.
Website, Patreon, and Bandcamp are all in the doobly-doo.
If you enjoyed what you saw, please consider donating, and we will put out videos every other Friday. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Later, nerds.